Taking meaningful action from engagement data. This is one of the questions that I get asked a lot. It's the so what piece. We've got the system, we've got the data, but we don't necessarily know what to do with it. Or how do we take this to a manager or leadership team or someone else in HR and say, we've got this engagement data, so what next? Which is the reason why we've structured it in this way. We've got the 3 engagement factors that are all related to performance and outcomes, but in a slightly different way. The first factor is energy. So if you have energy in the work, then you have that kind of mental energy and resilience to get through and to deal with challenges or problems in the workplace. And so sometimes if you have the tools and the resources and the support to deal with challenges or problems, often you can bring that energy to the workplace, right? You have that energy to get through it because you know the people around you support you, you know you have the necessary funding or budget or whatever you need to deal with a problem at work. You can bring that energy and initiative to solve it. So that's a really important part of engagement, and it's something that is enabled by the workplace environment, right? So that means your manager needs to support you. You need the tools or resources around you to be able to deal with problems. If you have a problem with a customer or a client, you need to have the autonomy and independence to be able to manage that problem and to know that you'll get that support from your colleagues or your team or the people around you. The second factor is purpose. That is going to work every day and knowing that what you are doing is going to accomplish something. There's something behind it. There's a reason that you're doing it, whether it's making an impact to the people you're working with, the team around you, to customers or clients or society or whatever the impact is. The work you're doing has some sort of impact, some effect. And that's so important because if you're doing work that you know doesn't go anywhere or no one cares about or doesn't matter, it's really, really demotivating. It's highly disengaging. And if that's the feeling you're bringing to work, then it's going to be really challenging to have that purpose to get stuff done. So that's why imbuing that sense of purpose is really important for boosting engagement and productivity. It happens at a variety of levels, right? So the organization might have a strategic plan. That's not necessarily what's going to be motivating you, engaging you day to day. It's the actual actions you're doing. It's going home at the end of the day and saying, this is what I got done, whether it's contributing to a larger project, to a team, or whatever it is, it's that sense of purpose. The third factor is called immersion, but it's linked to that sense of flow. You know, getting caught up in the work you're doing. So if it's the right level of challenging, if it's the right level of difficulty, but also has some kind of interest, some challenge for you, it's a good use of your skills, you get caught up in it. You can lose track of time in a good way. So the kind of the purpose and the meaning is coming together to give you that sense of flow in your workplace because you're really enjoying what you're doing, you're immersed in it, and you're focused on it. So when you look at those 3 factors together, there are 3 ways of breaking down engagement and looking at different components of it. But what we're also doing with this measure is we've got a 4th question where we're asking about motivation. And so motivation feeds into engagement, like I was talking about with those different factors, right? So if you have autonomy and independence in your work, it's going to feed into that purpose and that energy you have. If you have the flexibility to use the best of your skills, the best of your abilities, the best of your team or your experience, it's highly energizing, it's highly motivating in the workplace. But those are levers that HR or management can pull to make sure they can boost your engagement. They can't necessarily force you to be more engaged. So the other thing about boosting engagement, about changing or affecting engagement, is that we really need to understand that there's a mutual responsibility there. There's a lot that managers and leaders can do to create a positive environment, to create an environment where employees can be engaged, right, by giving people the right tools, the right resources, the right supports, and letting people get their job done. But employees also have a really serious responsibility to be engaged, right? No one else can make you be engaged or force you to be engaged. You need to bring that to work yourself, and you need to use that autonomy and flexibility to be engaged in your work and to be focused on it, to develop that sense of purpose in yourself, as well as integrating the purpose of the company. But you need to have that decision and that responsibility to do that. So it's really a responsibility on all sides that people need to bring together. It's like any teamwork or group work, right? You're working together for a common purpose, but everyone needs to bring their best to work, and it's going to affect everyone else. So having that responsibility and that knowledge of what you can do to boost your own performance, your own engagement, is really important. And often knowing that management or HR or leadership is going to help you do that, or is very willing to give you the opportunities to do that, in itself is very engaging. So it's kind of a continual process, but it's also a positive feedback loop. So if employees are trying to bring their best to work, to be more engaged, management and HR are trying to foster that, it's a really positive experience that can continue to boost performance. But what you have to do is measure it at the right time, and understand it.